Huge news for the sport of motocross and supercross today, as Feld Motorsports and MX Sports Pro Racing have announced a new joint partnership, and with it, the formation of the SuperMotocross World Championship. The two platforms will now work together to grow both Monster Energy Supercross and Lucas Oil Pro Motocross while creating a season-ending 3-race playoff with a dedicated $10 million purse. This is massive for the sport on many levels, so let's get into how it happened. The big item from this collaboration will of course be the new SuperMotocross World Championship. It will be a 3-race playoff-style series beginning in 2023, with the finale taking place at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in California. According to our Steve Mathis, it appears the other two venues involved will be the Circuit of Americas in Austin, Texas, and Atlanta, likely Atlanta Motor Speedway, as well. Monster Energy AMA Supercross and Lucas Oil Pro Motocross will both continue in nearly their exact same form, with each series crowning individual champions like always. The SuperMotocross World Championship will take the top 22 250cc athletes and top 22 450cc athletes in combined Supercross and Pro Motocross points to comprise the athletes who qualify to compete in the two SuperMotocross playoff rounds and the World Championship round for the SuperMotocross No. 1 plate. Says Kenneth Feld, the chair and CEO of Feld Entertainment, "With the creation of the SuperMotocross World Championship, we are taking a significant step towards growing the sport into a series that will be better suited for the expanding global marketplace and its impact on our fans and sponsors. As media and technology continue to evolve, SuperMotocross will be able to capitalize on these innovations to reach new audiences and grow exponentially in the coming years." The news of this new series will certainly raise questions about whether this is Feld and MX Sports reacting to the newly created World Supercross Championship. Feld and the FIM cut ties with each other at the end of 2021, and the FIM then sought a new promotional body, which they found in the form of SX Global, to take the reins of the new FIM World Supercross Championship license. That series will begin this fall in Wales, and already some pretty significant names and teams are lining up. However, this new SuperMotocross World Championship was already in the works long before the FIM and Feld ever cut ties. In what turned out to be a stroke of pure luck, Feld's Todd Gendro and Dave Prater met with MX Sports' Kerry Coombs-Russell and Davey Coombs at the 2020 Daytona Supercross in order to discuss how the two entities could better work together. 5 days later, the COVID-19 pandemic shut everything down. But as the discussion had already started, the wheels were already spinning. Vice President of Supercross Dave Prater explains, "I thank God all the time we had that meeting at Daytona, and we didn't wait until Indy, because then it just looks like a reaction to Indy Supercross being canceled." Kerry Coombs-Russell was instrumental in creating the Safe to Race task force to get racing going again, and we were part of that group. Aside from that, we were collaborating together individually on scheduling. We went from saying, "Hey, let's work together in the future," to being forced to work together a week later. That newfound relationship led to more and more collaboration as each entity worked through the pandemic to get racing back on track. The newly formed series announced today is simply a product of that compounded collaboration rather than a reaction to competing entities. It has long been discussed throughout the paddock of both Monster Energy Supercross and Lucas Oil Pro Motocross that the two series were actively fighting against each other. It has been many years since the birth of Supercross, where Pro Motocross and Supercross used to intertwine in some instances, though neither entity ever truly worked together. But the recent stigma was that of two promotional bodies that wanted nothing to do with each other. This new announcement is proof of the contrary, and nobody knows better of how monumental this moment is than the man himself, Roger DeCoster. This is the first time actually since the very beginning of the sport in America that the two groups are working together. For years and years there's been friction and all that. This is the biggest news in our sport as far as the organization side. We really look forward to it, and there seems to be a real effort now to work with the industry. In the past, there was always the feeling that they were out to get us, the side of the promoters and the AMA. Now they want to work with us. You can see what they can do. That's what Dorna is doing in MotoGP, and MotoGP has become huge. I think we have the potential to emulate that. A rising tide raises all ships, as they say, and that certainly could be the premise surmised from the two entities working closely together. But another huge aspect to this that will be seen with immediate effect is something that fans have certainly been very vocal about in 2022. As our own Jason Wygant explains, "There are many huge upsides to this process, but just to keep this story out of the weeds and keep you interested, here's the finish. Selling two series together as one season-long TV property and including a final playoff-style set of 3 rounds with a cool tagline like SuperMotocross World Championship gets TV executives excited. The two series believe they can capture a bigger bounty for TV rights than by working individually. Because of that influx of capital, there's an increase in purse money coming, both at the individual races and in title bonuses at those final events. Probably better promotion too. All sports need better TV, and more TV revenue to pay the athletes. Combining the two series into one media deal does that. Increased coverage and increased purse is ultimately the biggest step forward for the short term, and appears that we'll see the benefits of all of that almost immediately. Aside from the creation of the new series that will push racing into mid-October, ultimately almost nothing of either current series actually changes. The only big change is Lucas Oil Pro Motocross will go from a 12-round championship to just 11 rounds now to help alleviate some of the burden on riders and teams. The Monster Energy Cup is now also going to be gone, as it essentially is replaced by this 3-round series. So now we have 17 rounds of Supercross just like before, 11 rounds of Pro Motocross, and a 3-race playoff to end the season. With Monster Cup out and one less national, there are now 31 races a year instead of 29 plus Monster Cup. The teams have expressed interest in bringing the total races back down to 30, and it sounds like the 2024 campaign will likely end in September, and it is only ending in October for 2023 due to the availability of the Los Angeles Coliseum. All in all, Kawasaki Racing's Bruce Sternstrom put this deal into perspective best. We can never be an A sport, but we could be a B sport with the right leadership. I'm really happy to see what's happening now. I think the direction is the right one. Everybody has so much in common. It was almost laughable that it has taken this long to do so. But it's nothing to laugh about. We have never been as closely on the same page ever in the sport as we are right now. That's all for this edition of RacerX Rapid News presented by Fly Racing. Be sure to visit racerxonline.com for all your motocross and supercross news.